Sometimes it can change the discussions. Sometimes it can recalibrate the discussions. Sometimes it confirms things that we knew. Often it debunks myths in a big way. And again, it's a little bit of duck and cover from all sides when that happens. So the study that we did on the values and beliefs and identities of Canadians showed that a majority actually would like to see visible minorities in this country making more effort to fit into mainstream society over and above, if you had to look at it as an either or proposition, over and above holding on to their own customs and beliefs at all costs. So it's like, you know, if you have to pick two streams, which one do you choose? Majority of Canadians are saying at the end of the day, I would like a society where no matter where people are from, at least there is enough shared and common ability to interact, whether that's language or whether that's some customs or some traditions that we traditionally uphold in this country. That really, particularly in certain circles in certain parts of the country, sort of flew in the face of a political narrative that we've been hearing, not just over the last year, but particularly for generations, that Canada is the beacon of tolerance and openness and acceptance when it comes to multiculturalism or interculturalism. I would suggest that the data there changes the conversation. Another example of where polling data can change a conversation or debunk a myth came with the conversation around Bill C-51, which feels like it was so far in the past, but that was the security and terror laws. You remember the protests. You remember the absolute visceral reaction that people had to that piece of legislation. We broke down the legislation, presented Canadians with individual pieces of the legislation. They all came back. 80% said, actually, we're okay with this legislation. And that, again, was a big surprise. I did not expect to see that. And as a pollster, when you look at numbers that are that definitive, it's like, oh, geez, because you know you're going to get the angry phone calls and emails coming in. So that's where polling can shift or twist or provide a pivot in the conversation. Other times it's really just about trying to buffet a conversation that's already happening with some data, with a reference point or a baseline, so that we have a sense of, is this issue overblown? You know, does intense media attention on an issue, is that warranted? Is that reflective of the size of the issue in terms of the engagement and connection Canadians are feeling to that issue? Or is it something that we're talking too much about, and, you know, beyond sort of the clickbait factor is not something that the Canadians are really experiencing? So with the social media poll, with the one that we did about a year and a half ago on bullying, and we looked at both kids being bullied and also bullying in the workplace and harassment in the workplace, and we did a very interesting thing. We asked parents, you know, were you bullied? Are your kids being bullied? And what are the experiences, and what has been the experience for you reporting it? Did you report it? How did the school react? We're able to really provide for, you know, there's a bit of water cooler factor to it for people if they're engaged in an issue, to sit around and talk to it, for journalists, for researchers, for people who are just interested in a subject, to actually go to a place where it's like, well, a little bit of data on this that is empirical actually exists, and people can go to it and draw from it. And we're able to, at times, I think, further the public dialogue by really sort of putting a bit of a frame around an issue.